Today's video, it's not a pitch. It's an unfiltered chat between myself and Jess, our COO, behind what's actually working in AI these days for clinics. What really prompted us to have this conversation is, we were on a call with a client, I think it was yesterday, and James. We just realized just the amount of confusion that's going on right now across multiple industries within medical clinics, be it aesthetics, be it general practices, regenerative medicine, cosmetic dental. So figured it was about time that all that uncertainty gets put to rest. By the end of this video, you'll understand what's working, what's not, what happens if you're not implementing AI over the next 12 months, and what you probably are getting wrong, all due respect, about what it actually means for your clinic. And again, it's not pitch, but I will say if you do want any help, we actually have a comprehensive training about how we, clinic success partners, implement AI for all of our clinics, which I'll link to in YouTube somewhere here. I don't know where it is. It's better, but it's better than anything paid on the internet. And if you want to learn about who we are, we've got some videos linked somewhere. So that being said, I've got some questions here. We'll get stuck in. So Jess, how are you today?
I'm great. We've had a big week leading up to the end of the year. Just before you know it, it's already Christmas. So yeah, that's wild. I mean, probably beautifully chaotic in that last, race to the end of the year, because everyone wants 2026 to be a big year. And what I'm seeing from all of our clients is, man, we are just seeing their growth. They're just skyrocketing. So yeah, we're hitting the ground running and making sure that we can elevate them in the process.
Yeah, I think literally since this morning, was it 2 or 3 clients coming up to us just before Christmas being like, hey Jess, hey Tomas, we're launching a new location, can you help us out with that? So
yeah, it's beautiful. And I feel like now that we've worked, deep rooted within these businesses, it's like we know where to start, we know our systems work, we can see, we know their processes in and out, and then how much we've seen our systems absolutely just streamline everything. So where should we start?
I think, so you're talking a lot about systems. I think, first of all, what role do you think systems have in terms of making sure a clinic actually gets the success it deserves? And what I mean by that is most clinic owners watching this have probably worked with like 3 or 4 marketing agencies, maybe bootstrap some dashboards together, and they're not actually seeing how this impacts their business. What role do you feel there is between systems when it comes to tying marketing efforts and actually making the business money, which is really what we're here for?
Yeah, that's really interesting, because on the one hand, every clinic has their own sales system, their own internal ops management. And then marketing, everyone views that as, like an entirely separate entity. But when both of those two don't feed back through to each other and talk and have a streamlined way that we can connect, then I've seen it today. People don't really understand exactly their roles and what they're supposed to be doing. They're not quite understanding the designs of the campaigns, the availabilities, the organizational tagging to be able to report. Like everything has to be completely planned with reporting in mind for it to have success and for us to be able to track, their ROI. So one thing I noticed today was, especially with big clinics and there's lots of different staff members on at different times, it's just establishing certain SOPs and systems that work within their individual day-to-day workflow. So like, for instance, I was organizing some SMS campaigns for one of our big dental clients in Sydney, and it was interesting to get stuck in and see how different each of their team members were managing the leads, were recording things. Sometimes you don't realize that in their sort of environment, they are not actually communicating with each other, especially if there are different locations and people are working from either sometimes different states. It's like it can be quite disjointed. So with our patient flow system and the way that we know step by step what everybody should be following to like have a consistent and streamlined management, I am actually recording a really big training for them tomorrow, which I'm really excited about, because I love going into our system and showing the different pipelines where they come through, showing how the tags are supposed to be tracked, and just how much speed to lead is probably one of the most important things. So picking up the phone and calling, that human touch, it just goes tenfold in this industry.
Yeah, I think, because I know that obviously the client specifically you're talking about, but it's also, there's another aesthetics client, and I think the one, we were having a meeting with them, I think it was 2 days ago, and they were coming to us, hey, we need to AI-ify our clinic. And it's a great buzzword, like don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like saying, you know, have you been to Asia? But like not actually saying what country you've been to.
Exactly.
And it's such a it sounds great. Don't get me wrong. Hey, I use AI. Like
It's a great buzzword.
it sounds fantastic, but what does it actually mean? Like definitely that's something I want to talk about, because a lot of people here, they're like, right, well, I'm supposed to be using AI because all my ads are talking about AI, my algorithm's saying if I don't use AI I'm screwed. But I'll come back to that in a minute and ask about how do we actually use AI from a reporting perspective, from triaging and removing admin tasks perspective, and freeing up the front desk time and leaders time. But before I get into that, perhaps as a segue, in your experience, in our experience, what are the biggest issues that we see again and again with clinic owners? Maybe small ones, but also big ones.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because at the end of the day, like you said, AI is such a buzzword, and you don't want to be left behind. Like, that is just the way that the world is going. However, it's all about how we choose to use it and how much we don't let the human touch also fall behind. So there is AI used for efficiency, absolutely. AI we can be like used for speed to lead, absolutely. But it's really important to incorporate like the human element, to be able to talk to somebody, to be able to like discern what exactly we're using it for. So probably reporting is one of the most innovative ways that I've seen it, that we use it for and that can be used for. It kind of blows my mind sometimes just how instant we can, you know, export a clinic's booking system and then drop it into a specific AI dashboard where all of a sudden it will automatically link up with the contacts and the leads in our own
patient management software.
Exactly, like a patient flow workhorse, which is, you know, all of our automations, all of our marketing. It's like it is our hub, but to be able to connect it to clinics' revenue, their actual, you know, source of truth,
how fast they get them, like it's a full. I know exactly the part that you're talking about.
Yeah.
For the for clinics we implement this for, it's literally a full-time data analyst. Doing your work 30 seconds.
And to spit it out and display it in a clear and understandable manner
for your business.
Exactly, in the way that you like it. You know, we could even go further and add another layer on that for like predictive forecasting too. So when you look at AI, it's just like there is the basic layer, the second layer, the third layer, and it's just endless.
Yeah.
But doable.
Yeah, and it's incredible because I know the specific project we've been working on recently, and I want to talk about the use case for it, because there's so many things. We use what are called AI agents, which automatically book people in, free up from desk time, automate large part of receptions. But what we found with this specific project, the one that you're talking about, with the pulling in data from practice management software, be it Clinico, be it Hot Docs, be it whatever it is, core practice,
Fresher, time, like
all these
anyone,
ones. Consolidating that with marketing data. This gives you such a huge competitive advantage.
Massive.
Because if you think about it, if you are spending, say, $1,000, $2,000, in some cases $20,000 a month on ads, if you know, okay, I've got 5 Facebook or Meta ads campaigns and I've got 2 Google ads campaigns, it's all well and good saying I get 100 leads from one, 200 leads from another. But first of all, which of those leads actually turn into booked appointments? How much did those booked appointments pay in their first transaction? How long did it take for that person to pay? You know, if you're doing something high ticket like veneers or hair transplants, that's huge. And what is the overall lifetime value? And up until now, you know, what is it, December 2025, extracting that data and getting that updated in real time. We've had it in cases where, you know, you'd have a lead come from a Google ad campaign in January, didn't convert, but they're in our software. We retarget them with SMS automatically. We also hit them and re-nurture them with Facebook and Instagram ads. They convert in July, but then they're still paying a year later. If you are just looking at, hey, back in January, I got whatever it is, 50 leads from Google Ads, you're going to think those were duds. But until you've had all of that information talked together, you can't make a data. You know what I mean? You can't make a data-driven decision. And then the thing is, there's a saying by Dan Kennedy, who's one of the best direct response marketers ever, which was, he who can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. So if we can outcompete our competitors because we know exactly what's working, next thing you know, you flood the market and you are the local authority and you scale like crazy.
Absolutely. And I'll just like add one more thing about that, because we have comprehensive reporting for each channel. And we delve into obviously everything from our demographic to our cost per leads to splitting by location, even sometimes separating the specific ads channel. But when we're analyzing how many bookings drop through for that particular month, it's like without knowing your sales cycle per lead type or treatment type, it's really hard to understand where those bookings are coming from. So for instance, say you get 200 leads or so from Meta that come through for the month of November. We're like, okay, there are 3 campaigns running at the moment, each totally different. You know, if you've got like AOX, your veneers, your Invisalign, there's different stages in booking them. Therefore, they have different, sales cycles. There's different hoops to jump through with payment, approving finances and things like that. So if I'm analyzing how many leads are coming through this month and when money will hit in the clinic, it's like, okay, we've got week 1's leads were say 40 leads. That's like cohort 1. You've got week 2, you've got week 3 and week 4. With AI, these data points completely captured, and we know what the average sales cycle timing is for each of these week 1, week 2. So we're likely to have week 1 and week 2 of November probably book in November, but week 3 and week 4, they're likely to probably book in December and January. So it really gives you like some insane ideas of like how we're looking in the future for spend and where we can add more money and distribute budget.
100%. I think as well, I would say there's 3 main variables we need to look at when it comes to scaling profitably. Because again, if you're a clinic owner, speaking to you, watcher, whoever, if you're a clinic owner and you don't know how to scale your ad spend and so on, it's probably because you are running into cash flow issues. This is the level of insight that is required in order to take care of your cash flow. And again, what do I mean by that? Well, we need to look at a few different variables here. Number 1, what is your patient acquisition costs? Your true patient acquisition costs. Secondly, what is the gross profit of that patient? And then thirdly, and this is where this is so useful, is what is the payback time? Like how long so that the profit from that person outweighs the patient acquisition costs. So I'll give an example. We see this so often with our aesthetics clients. And the thing, if you're a clinic owner and you're listening to this, you might be thinking, well, my niche is different. I run this special type of ketamine assisted therapy or peptide therapy, and I'm in different, like, it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber, it doesn't matter if you're a software company, these principles are universal. The name of the game really is to make sure the profit from somebody is more than their acquisition cost. Because you make less money from someone than it costs you to get them, your business is losing money. You're making more profit than the acquisition cost, you're making money, but it might take time. So where I'm going with this is we often see, for example, Botox patients. The clinic owner might get them in the door for say $100, but the transaction value is not really much more than that in the first transaction.
For Botox, maybe it's like...
But depending, you know what I mean? So like what I'm getting at here is when you minus overhead, like rent, staff, all that kind of stuff, the actual profit, you're barely breaking even. So it could be second or third interaction before you make money. So all of a sudden you're in this really difficult cat and mouse dynamic where you're like, well, I need to capture more cash so I can fund the ads. So the solution here, and we have a doctor on our team, Dr. Kala, who specializes in this, he's exited 3 of his own practices, is how do we compress the period in which the profit from someone is more than the acquisition cost. And our goal is to make that 3 to 4x in the first 30 days. But if you don't know your numbers, you can't make that decision. We were just having a conversation before this, and I was saying I just got my bloods tested, got my testosterone levels checked, and that's all well and good. But there's a bunch of different stuff where apparently I'm chronically overworking. I don't know.
It's all for you guys.
It's all, yeah, but exactly for you guys, yeah. But the thing was, as far as I was concerned, I was like, well, I have brain fog, chronically upregulated, but if I didn't have the data to know exactly why that is, I'd be prescribed the wrong medicine, the wrong solution. And this is it, like the more data points we have, the more opportunities we can see for improvement.
Absolutely.
As we said to a client only 2 days ago, if you don't have the data, it's like trying to paint a picture from memory. You don't have the data in front of you.
Absolutely. And even back to that analogy you did with your bloods, which is great. It's without that data, you wouldn't be able to have the right quality medicines or supplements, whatever you need for your body. And then that also just feeds back to how important it is to assess lead quality through a data-driven mindset. I mean, I'll let you talk about this other level that we're implementing with our clients, which is fantastic. But having that feedback loop of the demographics and having that open communication with our clients and refining and testing and then feeding that straight back through with not just how many leads we are getting. No one cares so much about an overall lead generation number. We care about who actually comes through that door and converts to paying. So Exactly. So it's like you have to look at it from, we're not one of those marketing agencies that, oh yeah, we got you 200 leads this week, fantastic. But like they could just be a bunch of time wasters or have, a no-show rate that's way above industry standard, which we also have, I will get into that later, but we also have a lot of strategies for no-shows. So having that lead quality and the right strategies based on data and the organizational bookings to track that to then feed straight back to our meta managers and obviously SEO and PPC as well. But it's just like everything I'm noticing now, it's like data driven, cyclical. It's like these feedback loops. But I don't know if you want to talk about that other strategy that we're doing where like our patient flow system is hooked up to track bookings and then feed it directly back to the algorithm within the ad.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, at the end of the day, the way the best description is, as I said, it's kind of like trying to prescribe somebody a medicine with incomplete data. And that's a really great mental framework to go for when you're thinking, right, I need to analyze or audit market. Most people are running Facebook ads or Google ads like it's 2020. It's not. Spoiler alert.
The whole world has changed.
And it has. And the thing is, it's a race really to see who has the best data. And all AI is, it's prediction. It's a prediction machine. But you can't predict if you don't have data. Fortunately, Zuckerberg and Google have like the best AI developers in the world. So love it or hate it, our job is to make their lives in this area, whatever your political stance is, outside of that. No swearing. But the thing is, most people are running ads and they're like, right, well, I'm gonna optimize for leads. And again, leads doesn't put food on the table.
Exactly.
So what we need to do is, number one, have a good CRM with good automations, good systems, and that's parking the in-clinic experience. But what we need to be able to do is be able to say, hey, Google, out of the 100 leads you got me, these are the 10 that actually booked up. And also, out of the 10, here's how much they paid. Or say, here's the ones that no-showed. And here's the ones that actually paid money. Give us more of the ones who actually paid money. Same with Facebook and Instagram. So we need to have a two-way setup where it's not just Facebook speaking to our marketing software. We also need to be able to feed that back. And this is where merging this is so powerful. Because if you imagine for a second, have a system where you have Facebook, you have Google, you maybe have SEO, Facebook/Instagram, you have your marketing software, and you have your practice management system that you're using for your internal stuff. Imagine a world where all three are speaking to each other. Google or Facebook speaks to your marketing software. We have automations going. We book someone in on that, and then from the practice management software, it speaks to the marketing software. Then that tells Google or Facebook, hey, out of the leads you got me, this demographic is the real one. These are the money spenders. These are the ones that, again, allow me to pay my staff. These are the ones I really want. And this really is the future of marketing. Not just the follow-up stuff, but actually optimizing for quality and not just quantity. And that's what gives you a competitive advantage in today's world and future.
And is that not exciting? Like where we are, like even if we just take a minute to whatever your stance is on the technological growth that we're in right now in this space, but to be able to apply it to our industry and to really elevate business and marketing and just to give you more time to step out of the clinic, go on holidays, because you know that you can trust your marketing agency, your data, you can see it instantly in a snapshot. You know that people like us will be there to almost help manage your front end staff in what they should be doing and establishing an entire system. And I don't know, the last couple of years, I've really seen everything skyrocket, and I'm just taking a moment to say that I'm so grateful to be in this industry where we are right now, working with you and and our clinics as well, like just establishing such a good relationship with all of them. And we want everybody to succeed. It's like we almost become, like our name, Clinic Success Partners, like we are a partnership and we want to become family. We want to help you. And then that also helps us. So again, we also do the same cyclic. It's like the way it's all going. And
it's interesting on a meta level, pun unintended, but like also for anyone listening and you're thinking, right, AI, it's gonna remove the human element. Now what will I do? I was actually at a conference, I think I remember telling you about this. I was at a conference 6 weeks ago. It's an AI conference, AI and Bitcoin. Stephen Bartlett, I definitely should. Stephen Bartlett was actually giving a speech. And again, for anyone listening, one of the, Dragon's Den is what he's on. One of the most respected entrepreneurs on the planet, has one of the top 3 biggest podcasts in the world. And I was listening to him speak personally. And somebody asked him, what role does AI have in your decision making? And he paused and he said, whatever skills we don't use, we atrophy. So he was like, for the actual key decisions, I don't want to 100% automate that to AI. He's like, but what I do, so he's like, I put pen and paper, I write things down. But he's like, what I do then is I allow AI to give me the best data possible. And this is the thing, like we've got clients, and you know ones I'm speaking of here, the amount of back and forth, the amount of hours, when you think about it, like these are really, really, really educated people. There's business development people in their clinics that are being paid a lot of money, as they should be. They're extremely experienced, and yet those people are probably spending 10, 15 hours a week going through spreadsheets, which frankly is a low leverage activity, when that same mental bandwidth should be spent actually making decisions with that data. It's like trying to meditate and having someone tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, have you updated your columns? Or trying to figure out a maths problem, having to do random tasks at the same time.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's one really interesting point that you say, because we do not want AI to ever remove our critical thinking. Like, we have to use our human discernment. Even, for instance, we sometimes use AI as like certain self-assessment tools. For instance, I think, we can actually chuck meeting transcripts into our AI and position it to help us audit, call quality, to-do tasks, anything like that. But without that human element, you take that with a perspective, and then it's up to you and how you put that forward. So that's just even one small, thing that we can use that for. But obviously applying to clinics, like, it's endless, especially with training as well. So. And
a question for you, Jess, because you're the one who's usually in the trenches. I occasionally am. I step in, but like, you're the client success queen. Like, everyone, I don't know anyone that doesn't love Jess that works Jess. Anyone?
I am who I am.
I try. But my question was, what's the role of the in-clinic experience? And by this I mean the front desk experience, when it comes to getting the most bang for their buck. Is it sales training? Is it having a resale strategy, so when patients come out of an appointment, they're already being sold on the next one to increase lifetime value? Is it training the doctors or providers themselves? Like, where do you tend to find are some of the biggest in-clinic opportunities for more revenue outside of the marketing? Because it obviously all works together.
Well, there's so many, like a plethora. So I'm just trying to pinpoint which angle to go through. So do you mean also like stacking the right offers, or offering bulk amounts of prepay services and that kind of thing? Or are we sort of more talking like, I guess, picking up the phone and calling the clients? That is probably the most one. Like, I have a clinic who, of course, we can absolutely design automations that instantly you get your message. The front desk staff gets notified when someone replies. And we all know what it's like in clinics. Like, people are busy. There are, phone calls, there are in-person things to do. It's really easy to get sidetracked. So having a better system to have someone really prioritizing and focusing on new leads and sales is like instilling that culture in sales, not just clinic management, is like huge. So even when, one of our big Melbourne clinics, the front desk staff, were great, but because they're so spread thin at times with other tasks, as soon as we were like, okay, guys, we're getting X amount of leads, your conversion rate is a pretty decent percentage, but industry standard, it can be better, and I'll tell you why. I'm looking at the conversations, I'm looking at the times that we're organising this, and then all of a sudden, from a sales mindset, one of the physicians stepped in, and as soon as anyone answered the call, their conversions just skyrocketed. I was even speaking to GM today, actually, and it was like, as soon as Kim picks up the phone, it's a 99% strike rate. So it's just like really interesting to add that sales mindset and always eliciting open conversation. And if there are multiple people in the front desk, it's all about organizing and using internal comments in the system, setting tasks for yourself. Like, yeah. I handhold the management and how to make that work day to day without feeling overwhelming.
I love that, and there's a few things I want to add to that, and one of them being one of the guys I work with, one of my own business mentors and friend, Darren, you've met him. He has this great line, which was, when helping some of his clients run a coaching business, was, you don't run a coaching business, you run a sales and marketing business that does coaching. And the same applies to clinics, and it's a really important frame. Like, you don't run a medical practice, you run a sales and marketing business that helps people through your specific treatment. And it's quite good to remember this from a reception, when training front desks or receptions. And like, unfortunately, when you've spent years and years in medical school, that's a bit of a hit to the ego. And it's not to diminish the value of the medical work that you do, but at the end of the day, the best way you can help more people as a doctor, provider, or even front desk is by getting in front of more. So it's really, really important to put on that sales and marketing hat, put that at the forefront, because that's what will actually, ironically, allow you to help more people. And a really good bit of advice that I was talking to a friend of mine who runs an agency last week when it comes to sales was success leaves footprints. For example, for that specific practice, and again, they've just mentioned they're going to open a second clinic as of today.
So excited about that.
You know what I mean? So it's exciting that this stuff works, but with that case with Kim, it's so important to look at, okay, what does our top performer do? What exactly, how can we replicate that? Is it their script? Is it what they say? Is it the tonality? Is it the pauses? And for any clinic owner listening to this, and you've got, because we often see this, you might have a front desk and there might be multiple people. And there's always that one out. What is a really high leverage thing to do is have the rest of the staff shadow them for one day. Document if you can. Get recordings of the calls. Obviously make sure it's compliant. And look at the patterns. And actually then you can use AI, a little handy, just use ChatGPT for this. Not the fancy AI stuff we're talking about, but like basic stuff. And make a framework that everyone else can replicate. And then reassess that as time goes on. But I just want to talk about that because it's a really useful strategy.
I love that. And just a slight background as well. So from a massive sales and marketing background, but I also have a master's in teaching. So what I love getting in front of our clinics and the front end desk and sending personalized videos and actually teaching how to do these things and breaking it down in small manageable chunks to make it accessible to whatever, I guess, learning capacity you're at. So that's exciting. But other than having the sales focus like that, solely relying on picking up the phone and calling, and this is why I love that every business and every operation is different, and we have such a tailored approach, which is great. So another clinic of ours, we are trying to, because they are so spread thin, they're huge, we've kind of designed it to remove the human elements to then free up more time. For instance, in our automations, like our SMS workflows that are, carefully designed for offers, timings, and whatever suits at the time. Sometimes everyone might be busy and they don't pick up, they just don't have time to pick up the phone as quickly as you might need. So we can kind of work around that with technology these days, and if someone's interested in the ad, they enter in their details, they get our first offer message, and then they reply yes, and they get, great, one of our patient coordinators will be with you. And then if they don't reply in 5 minutes, whatever step we decide to do, whether it's they don't reply within the first 5 minutes after our first offer message, or if they don't reply with the other questions we've elicited, it's so tailored, it all depends. We can actually input a step to have a voicemail drop that's already exactly the same as what one of our staff would already call them, leave a voicemail that's treatment specific, offer specific, and it removes them having to actually pick up the phone, leave this one, and then do that again. There will be a voicemail drop within that workflow. So it'll be like, great, not replied, someone's getting a call, but the call doesn't go through, and then they're left with this really warm voicemail, and it's instinctively either people call back, so it elicits calls, which is great, or they already get the voicemail and that little bit of information that they needed, and they're already that extra bit warm for when the staff do have time, because they've already heard their sweet voices, the information they might have wanted to know about each different treatment. So it's honestly, it's so detailed, and so it's like an art and a science at the same time, and that's what I love about it.
Nice. Bring back to the AI side of things. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that you see with clinic owners when it comes to AI? Like, what can it be used for? What can it not be used for?
That's so tough, because if I'm honest, there's probably only 1 to 2 clinics that even understand what it is.
Yeah.
So misconception-wise is probably just the lack of understanding in the types of layers that it can be used for.
Not just ChatGPT.
Yeah, or obviously there's the one that everybody knows where you can have, 24/7, we program treatment specific, I guess we call it bots in a way.
Yeah, AI agents.
AI agents. Yeah, that's a more beautiful word. And they can learn, and they will reply 24/7 to these questions in any way that we want them. So that's probably the baseline, as well as these days AI's gotten crazy with being able to physically, an AI agent to have a voice like you and me,
Yeah.
to be able to pick up the phone and call and introduce themselves. Like, hi, I'm Mia, which is our usual AI agent name.
Yeah, to out ourselves.
Yeah.
So to get a text from a Mia.
Yeah, you get a
Apologies.
text, but like it could be my voice, it could be your voice. It's something so natural and conversational now that it can supply you with any booking help or any treatment things. Like, it's actually insane. So to bring it back to what you asked about misconceptions, I think it's just the lack of depth in what you can use it for.
And it's so powerful as well. I mean, it's important. Just a few things I'll say on that is, number one, for testing creatives, it's one thing we've been starting to test more is, video ad creation, image ad creation. Like, it's getting so incredibly powerful because it means that we can test so many more ads simultaneously without operational drag. Because, back even when we started, one of the biggest delays with getting ads live is actually getting the creatives from the person. But when we have a data set of dozens of clinics across 3 continents, we have a fair idea of what's going to work from the get-go. So we can use AI to replicate that quickly, get you money quickly while you're actually shooting your in-person stuff as well. But another thing I'll mention to bring it back to the systems is supply demand. And where I'm going with that is, this is from a basic economics perspective. Facebook and Instagram, I'll speak on them for a minute. Google's a separate beast. It's a marketplace. And when everybody else is spending money on ads, CPMs, cost per impressions and so on, is only going to get more expensive. That's a guarantee. That's like, things will only get more expensive. So what do? You beat everyone to the punch. And that's where you run your ads, great. But the real revenue that you can, the real ways to unlock revenue, the big opportunities are, number one, getting your creative solid. 2, getting your follow-up dialed. But then 3, working with someone who can actually view the business holistically, and then also increase the patient lifetime value and compress the time period. Because while we definitely generate way better than industry average, we do get, we often get leads and appointments for 80% cheaper than industry average. It gets to a point though where, marketing will not solve a business problem. Your patient acquisition costs can only go so low. That's the first thing we generally take care of. We want to get as many people in the door for you as fast as possible. But then, and this is where everyone else will be focused, where the real opportunity for your business is what happens when they walk in the clinic. And that's where we talk about, if we again think of that ratio of patient acquisition cost, patient gross profit, lifetime gross profit, the payback period, the marketing will take care of the patient acquisition cost. Or the real opportunity, in addition to the AI going into 26, 2027 and beyond, is how do you maximize, number one, the patient lifetime value, and how do you make sure they pay you faster so you can put more and more money into the marketing while everyone else is kind of scrambling because they haven't fixed it.
And trust that it's going to come back around because we have the data that predicts why.
Exactly, yeah. And the thing is, what's good to remember is when everyone's while this is a masterclass really on AI for medical clinics, it's also important, it'd be remiss of me not to mention, when everyone's going online, you should also make sure to be going offline as well. And what I mean by that is the in-clinic stuff. Because the in-clinic side of things is inherently less scalable because you need to train front desks, you need to train providers, you need to do all these different things, you need to change sheets of paper for a really dialed-in system. So when everyone else is taking care of the marketing, which again, you should be, I'm not saying, person watching this, that you shouldn't take care of your marketing. It's the first thing we do. But when that is sorted, you also need to start looking at, okay, I'm getting people in the door. How do I have someone on my team who has built and exited multiple clinics? We have someone on our team that does that. And someone that specializes in, okay, do I work with someone who has the transparency and ability to make decisions on how this Botox patient, to give my earlier example, how do I make them pay multiple times what it costs to acquire them in the first 30 days? And then how do I increase their lifetime value? And how do I increase my prices? Because when you unlock that, if I can tell you, Jess, for every one patient we get, they pay for 4 or 5 more in the first 30 days. Every patient costs $100 or whatever. You're going to put as much money into that machine as you can, because every person that you bring in, gives you the money to get more and more and more and more. So I'll just mention that while us getting our patient acquisition costs is really powerful, it's also important for us to look at the bigger picture and look at what happens on the back end. Well.
Absolutely, yeah, your A, B, C, D parts of the entire marketing ecosystem and which parts, like identifying, need more support. And each of them can't really work as efficiently or effectively without the other doing as good as, everyone's streamlined in the best way that they can be. With AI and being able to lay this map out of your A, B, C, D points of your whole business. It's like, okay, now I know what part is falling down. Is it our no-shows? Is it the sales experience? Is it like the time of conversions? Are we not, jumping on that as much? And it's like nobody realizes how much hidden revenue is within your existing community already. So it's like understanding and being able to specifically target that. And I know we say this all the time, but like we have some amazing database reactivation campaigns, and that is endless in how we can angle that towards, incentivizing it with Google reviews, which is fantastic. Maybe we've realized, in this part of the map, we can see that these treatments here were presented in clinic, but they never actually went ahead and they never, dropped the money. So then, okay, great. Well, now that I can see that, let's target these with a new, different offer that incentivizes them to bring them back in and convert them as real patients. Or we've got certain personalized videos for no-shows, or advertising your referral programs. Because, if you've got one good community member, well, if they're happy and incentivized, well, then they're going to bring a buddy or a family member or someone they love. So it's honestly just endless. And one thing I will say, which people also really look at language and tonality and how you angle an offer. So you can pitch it in so many different ways. And I was just looking at how exciting and fun it is to get a message, and I feel like I've won something. So that winning language sometimes is like doing something fun. Like, don't be afraid to have like a draw. Like you might see a selection in our map that we've sort of identified, and we're like, you know what, let's say, because you came in the clinic and you got X treatment or whatever, you've gone in the draw now to win an end of the month prize. And everyone's like, oh, and they're engaged and they're like, okay. And then we're building up a little bit of excitement and suspense. And then we do like a big draw at the end. And then it's like, there are so many ways to engage your existing community, make it fun, bring them in, bring them more people, give you Google presence. Like, it's endless.
Yeah, you need to, I'm conscious of time, so I have to wrap it up. But I mean, the big thing to remember here is like, number one, I want to say, if you're watching this video, we do, as I mentioned, have a comprehensive training that is literally the best on the internet. And I've talked to a lot of people that have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on courses to grow their clinics. In our experience working with dozens of clinics, I want to say, let's just let people be empowered to make the best decision possible. So we do have a link to that free training. It's somewhere on YouTube. I don't know where it is on the screen. Alternatively, if you want to hop on a call with us and we can map out your next 90 days for your specific practice, I will include a link below. And to wrap it up, I will say on the AI front, in a nutshell, if you're a clinic owner and you're wondering, this is great, bit abstract, don't really know what to do, what you need to know is, 1, you'll have more time, less effort. 2, you get better results. You get better creatives, you reply to people faster. And 3,
you can track everything. Every data point, every attribute source, every bit of predictive forecasting will make things easier for you. It's exciting.
Exactly, and segue, I mean, you actually beat me to the punch there. What I was going to say is 3, 4, whatever way you want to phrase it, you make better decisions. Quality of your life is dictated by the quality of your decisions. You can't make good decisions without data. Fortunately, we have this unlimited supply of intelligence at our disposal, and that's what AI can do for you. And again, if you want to know how to implement it yourself, hop on a call with us. We'll show you how to run it. If you want to learn how to do it yourself, we got the video training somewhere. Otherwise, see you in the next video. Chat soon.
Bye.